G'day folks. For the next video about this panel, I decided to make a lot more detail on how I use the English wheel for this shape and everything like that. I put so much in there, the footage was like an hour long, so even I haven't got the attention span to watch an hour long video about making a panel. So I split it into two, even though it's a bit long, but it has all of the detail on how the thought process behind where I start to work, how I go about it. Yes, I am basically making it up as I go along, but that's how we ended up with this. So thanks, eh? So how are we going to go about making this one? So at the front we have this radius, and then it goes flat. We have a curve here, it's just a gentle one. And then we have the firewall, which is curved like that. And then of course we've got this bit here, which has to come out because of the cylinders here. I'll put a straight edge there. There we go. If I made a sheet and just rolled it, the edge, that shows basically how much working or stretching needs to happen for the skin to sit properly. Not to mention the height as well. So we've got this radius here and that height, but then at the back there it's higher. So we sort of need the skin to sort of grow out and almost be flat along here. Not quite, but close, because the cylinders are right here. So yeah, I'm trying to explain it a bit better this time, just to what's in my head and what we need to do. Anyways, so yesterday I was mucking around with this one, and I won't be using this one. So I sort of put this one down to character building, and we'll have another go. But I've learned a lot just in what I wanted to do. You can sort of see these lines here. You know how before I was saying you got to choose the right size shaped wheel and not too much pressure. Because I knew I wasn't using this and I just wanted to hack into it, I used a fairly sharp radius. Whoops, stay there. We'll put that in. I used a fairly sharp radius on the wheel. So that's just to lift it up quickly. But it leaves all of these lines in it, but which you'd have to dress out later on. So today's approach, I'll have a go at starting with this shape here and that one, and then we'll work our way up to here. And so that way I can transfer this shape to that shape in a little bit more of a gradual thing here, rather than such a severe shape in this area. So sort of like this. So that'll sit nicely down the bottom there, and we'll pin down this side, and we've sort of got that shape there sort of happening already as a guide. This area still will need work, but I won't make it as severe as that previous one, even though that was pretty cool and I quite enjoyed myself yesterday, but we won't do it this time. So I still need to raise this piece up to make that edge wrap around properly to the side there. Yeah, we'll give that a go. Okay, so I reckon we'll start working in just this little area here. So from about here to here, we'll just try and lift that a little bit gradually, just to see what it does and how the panel reacts and how it fits onto here. So with the wheel, I start off with the lightest radius. So you can see there's only a small curve in that. There's the scale that I've got. So that's a flat, and it goes gradually down to that shape there. So we'll start with the easy one, and not much pressure on it as well. So you can see I just wind it up and just touch, so it only works it slightly, and then we'll see what happens after that. So we're just working that little area there, so you can see where I've been going back and forth, and I had to sort of work it up this way a little bit, because it's very easy to get a ripple or like a blister, but we don't want that. We want a smooth shape. So you work this area, but you have to feather it out into there. Now the wheel underneath there, see how it's pretty much following that shape of that wheel there. If I keep going now, this edge and that edge will actually put marks in the metal, because the metal is actually a sharper shape than the wheel. So I need to change to the next size up. So we'll probably pick that one, or maybe that one. I'll probably have to wheel a bit more, so that's what we'll do next time. But I'll go and check it on the buck and see what that looks like, and see if I'm on the right track, and whether I need to wheel further down here or back up here as well. And we'll slowly work our way up. All right, quickly pin it back up on the buck, just to hold it in place, so I can hold two things at once. Following this curve here, looks like we need to work, see there, it's touching at that point there, and along that way, well, that will be. So, well, that's easy, this part. But down here is where a shape is starting to happen. And you can see down at the bottom corner there, it's touching there, but there's a big gap here, and it's touching there. So that transfers into that shape. See how we got a bigger radius there, and it's trying to flatten out, but also go around the corner. So we need to raise this area here closer to that radius. So we raise that bit, we'll end up with a blister, so we need to feather that out. Like I said before, that's what we did here. We raised it here, but we had to feather it back out a little bit. So we'll have to do that again, but just in this area here. And then we'll keep working our way in there, so then this area here can get closer, so we can force it, so it can get closer in like that. And then I can probably put a fold in this section here to follow that line, and then we'll feather it out again. Lots of feathering. Okay, we'll see if this works. It might be a little bit too bouncy and stuff. All right, does that help? So I put that in there, and I reach in. Oh, it's wobbly. All right. Very light tension on the wheel at the moment, so we're just working along this area here. And I'll go a little bit further from time to time, just to keep that feathered out, yeah? And now we'll slowly work our way up. Back this way as well a little bit. Got to keep those lines very close together. It just helps for cleaning up later on. I'll throw a little bit more this way as well. You can sort of feel where it's going. Just work this area a little bit more. Slowly working back down towards this little line here that I've got. Back up again. So I'm not loading the skin up, I'm just running it through the wheel at the moment with not much pressure. I don't want to move too much, just a little bit at a time. And then we'll try that. Quickly pin back up onto the buck again. You can see, I don't know if you can see on that, but it has risen, this area here has been risen up a bit. Probably need to work a little bit more up here to feather that out a bit more. And, oh, it's a bit hard to show. It's not really picking it up. But there is a bit of a raise there, and that is starting to bring that back in nicer. Still need a ways to go. Gotta be careful not to work down here too far. I want to work this area a little bit more. Basically this is coming out a little bit. So then if this area, see where it touches? So it touches right there at the moment. Now if we raise that area up, it takes further for the material to touch. So the whole material moves down further, which gets closer to this bit here. And that's what we want. So it touches there. We might have to raise this area here a bit more as well, because if we raise this a lot, it'll touch here. And then we've sort of defeated the purpose. So, and we end up with that bump. So concentrating on this area, but we're going to have to work a bigger section of the panel to get the results that we're after. We're on the right track. Well, we'll do it slowly, because if you get impatient, and that's the key with English wheel, so you got to do a little bit at a time. If you up it, you'll stuff it. It's a bit of a rhyme there, isn't it? But anyway, patience is the key. The big thing that I'm aiming for is to keep this profile at the bottom of the sheet. So that's the firewall. So I'm using that as a reference to see how far I need to raise this section here, so it'll transfer up to that shape. So this is the area that we need to work, but we want to keep that profile there. But like I said before, like I did this quite severely last time, I don't want that. I want to sort of feather that and have that more gradual than previous. This time I want to induce a little bit more raise in just this little area here. So that's why I'm going crossways at the moment. Got to be really careful, because this will end up with a blister. So the pressure is the same as before. I'm just going to work this area a bit more, and then we'll go back the other way to feather it out. I don't know if you can see there is a bit of a raise there now. So now we go back this way. And feather it out hopefully a bit more. Probably needs to lift a little bit more there too. So we'll track it back in there, and we'll work it up. Start again. And back again. And we go back this way, start at the bottom. Just work that down a little bit more. You can see in the sunlight there's a little bit of ripples there, so I need to feather this and raise this little section here. So we'll work our way up to that. Keep those lines nice and close together. Go back again. Bring it closer towards me a little bit more. There's a warp there, but we'll see what it looks like in the job. Go a bit, I might go another one. Go back up again. Keeping those lines very close together. I might send it a little bit further back. And it's very light pressure on the wheel at the moment. I'm not pushing hard pushing up or down on the sheet to load it up. I'm just running it through the wheel. See what that looks like. That's starting to match nicer through there. Still a ways to go. You can see I've made a mark here. I need to raise this area up a bit more, but I need to stretch this area, not so much this area. And also this is getting a little bit difficult to push back in again to match that profile at the back there. So that's my reference line. It's taking a bit of pressure there, so I think I need to start raising a little bit further out this way. I can actually feel when I put two hands, put pressure there, you can actually feel a little bit of a flat spot just here. So we'll have to start raising this little bit. I'll raise that up a bit more and that will help bring that back down. But I need to concentrate more on this area here and probably start bringing it up to this bit and wrapping that around a little bit more. I'll start trimming the edge soon as well, because if you have too much meat on the edge and it's not worked, it actually interferes with the rest of the panel. So it's a catch-22. You need the meat there until you discover where the panel sits before you can drill it off. So that's like edge distance and all that sort of stuff. You can't just do that now, because the panel may well move too far and it won't line up with all your holes. So you've got to have the meat there, but there comes a point where it starts to interfere with what you're trying to do. So we're nearing that. I might just take a piece or two off the end there, but first off we'll work this area first, see what we need to do in this area. We might have to start raising that, but I don't want to take too much out there as well. I don't want to raise that bit up too much, because again, we're still looking for that gradual thing. But there is a bit of a shape starting to happen there now. Okay, we'll use the same wheel again, but we're going to go across again like this. Bring that up. Maybe a little bit of tension. Just a little bit. All right, there we go. So we'll start back at that line that I've made. Hey, botheration. All right, there we go again. See that line there? That's no good. I'll work that out the other way. I think we're getting awful close to the radius of the die, so we might have to go to the next sharper radius. It's just starting to add a few lines here and there, so I'll go back down here and concentrate on this area a bit more, especially forward of that line. See what that looks like. Well, that profile there is coming back nicer since we've done that. We've raised a lot more of that area of a bigger area from there back, and it's starting to follow this radius nicer. Trying to put that into perspective. We're trying to bring that radius, there, that radius down this way, but it can't be that same radius at the top as here, but it's got to be close. So that's what we're trying to do. So bring that radius, that'll make this edge come down nicer, and then from there we can do that little bit there. So that's starting to come along nice. I could almost trim a bit more off there and make it come down, but I won't yet. I'll hold out. So probably need to work that area a little bit more. As you can see, we're still touching that area there and a little bit there. That area is not too bad. So we still need to raise this area more. And how are we feeling here? Probably need to raise this through here a bit more now. There's a flat spot there, but I think that's okay. Whoop. Try and focus on what I'm doing. So yeah, I think we'll need to raise a bit more in through here, start bringing it out over this way, and that'll follow that profile nicer, and then we can concentrate on that bit.